Good morning. Arthur Offaly speaking on behalf of the Arthur Offaly Foundation. Now, here we go again. After trying to get justice for the past 45 years, I have come to the conclusion that here in the north of Ireland, the court system and the legal system has to be the most corrupt system in the world, run to protect and cover up for that British government. That British government has sent 2 different English police squads to look into my father's murder, and both the HET and the Canova have done nothing to solve my father's case. Both know who murdered my father, and the last report I had from Canova was that they have not had time to look into my father's case. My father has been murdered 45 years ago, and they have no time to look into his murder. No time, because it was their corrupt British government and a British agent who killed my father. So, sending those 2 bunch of scum to look into the murder of my father was a complete waste of time, a waste of taxpayers' money, as this corrupt British court system here in the north of Ireland, and that corrupt legal system who will not even take my father's case on. But of course, the so-called lawyers have to obey their British masters and obey that so-called head of state, the Queen. After all, they take the oath to serve and obey that person. I have been speaking to an MEP who has agreed to take my father's case to the War Crimes Commission, as my father was murdered by a Sinn Féin IRA man who was a British agent working for the British government. Also, he was a police informer, also an agent for MI5 and MI6 and the FRU, that is the Forces Research Unit, a unit of the British Army who employ terrorists, both Sinn Féin and loyalists, to murder innocent members of the public. Now, the British government and the RUC PSNI supplied Scappaticci with the Armalite rifle and ammo to murder my father and paid him out of the public purse. And the British government gave full permission to carry out the murder of an innocent man aged 56 and a father of 8 children. Now, this British government and the RUC PSNI and the corrupt British courts here in the north of Ireland, with the corrupt legal system, have blocked me from getting my father's case to court to get justice for my unarmed father, Arthur Joseph Offaly, who was murdered in 1974. No solicitor or lawyer was allowed to take my father's case on. My father's case was refused legal aid, even though my father worked all his life at the Belfast docks as a docker to rear his large family of 8 children, while murderers and perverts and rapists and paedophiles can all get legal aid. So why not my father, Arthur Joseph Offaly? Of course, the British government and that corrupt RUC PSNI did not want that mass murderer from Sinn Féin IRA informer Scappaticci, aka Stakeknife, to appear in court, because he would have to admit he worked for the British government and that corrupt RUC PSNI and has murdered at least 75 members of the Irish public under command. Now, I want this War Crimes Commission and the European Courts of Human Rights to know all about this case, and to know that the RUC have withheld fatal evidence into the murder of my father for the past 45 years, just to appease the British government and to keep their mass murderer safe. I demand that the corrupt British government and that RUC, a so-called police force in the north of Ireland, and those corrupt British courts and their lawyers who refused to take my father's case on, I want these scum named and shamed, and that British government to be charged with carrying out war crimes on an innocent man in the north of Ireland. His only crime was that he was a Catholic and was an Irishman living in Ireland. And for the RUC PSNI, their part into the murder of my unarmed father, Arthur Joseph Rafferty, I want that so-called police force disbanded, and I want the world to know how we Catholics here in the north of Ireland were treated in our own country by those low-life scum. Now my father, Arthur Joseph Rafferty, murdered on the 8th of September, deserves justice. No one since 1974 has been arrested, charged or even questioned about my father's murder. That happened 45 years ago. This has to be the longest unsolved murder of an innocent victim here in the north of Ireland for the past 100 years. I told my father on his deathbed in the Royal Victoria Hospital just before he died from his wounds of being shot in the back 5 times that I would find out who shot him, and I did. It was the British government who colluded with that RUC PSNI and that mass murderer from Sinn Féin IRA, Freddie Scappaticci, who was employed by the British government and the RUC PSNI, who supplied him with the arm-laid rifle and ammo to murder my father, and he was paid out of the public purse by the British government. Others who gave my father no help at all were the corrupt British court system and the legal system, the Human Rights, the Equality Commission, who all turned a blind eye on the orders of that corrupt British government and that RUC PSNI, a so-called police force. And Sinn Féin IRA, who supplied the informers to murder my father, and they were well paid for their dirty work. They now run Stormont with the DUP and other lawless organisations for the British government, paid by the British government, put there to harass and abuse and intimidate Irish Catholics in that corrupt Stormont, which was formed in the 1920s as a Protestant parliament for Protestant people and Protestant politicians, and run by a Protestant RUC PSNI for police force to run the whole country. The same RUC who abused and harassed me and us children living in Sillertown in North Belfast. The same RUC stood by and let an IRA random mob abuse my mother in the New Lodge. My mother later died of a massive stroke. The same RUC PSNI put my brother Tommy out of the country on the advice of their IRA chums. Tommy later died in South Africa, a young man. Now, I hope the War Crimes Commission and the European Courts of Human Rights can give me some justice to my father's murder, as I was never going to get any justice from those British-run courts and legal services in the north of Ireland. They are pure evil and corrupt, and they were never at any time going to help me to divulge who murdered my father, because they are run by the British government for the British government. Shame on them. Anyone who would like a tip of this story or any one of my stories can call me on my mobile 07715 921137 and I will send you a tip free. Thank you. Anyone who has a story to tell and wishes me to air it can call me on my mobile 07715 921137, or I can get a reporter to call to your house and get your story. And remember, I will tell your story as you tell me nothing will be cut out. Now watch more of my stories on YouTube, arthurrafferty.com, YouTube Arthur Rafferty, Arthur Rafferty Docker, YouTube Jackspot 2012. That is a tip about the brutal murder of my father by a five-man gang of Sinn Féin IRA led by Ferry Scappaticci on the orders of the British government, the RUC, PSNI and the Special Branch. Now, that Sinn Féin IRA scum Scappaticci carried out their orders on their command. Now, my email is arthurrofferty1@gmail.com. Thank you for watching ASNI TV and good morning, and I will see you soon. And I only hope that the War Crimes Commission and the European Court of Human Rights can bring some justice to my father's case, as them corrupt courts and the High Court here in Belfast had never any intentions of helping me or my family. Good day and have a nice time.